Hello, this is Pikachu Plays. I am back with more Death Trick Double Blind. This is a game about detectors and a missing person in, I don't know, San Francisco? The details seem to be far away from me. Anyway, let's get back into it. The magician. Alright, Moses asked me to find Alys in backstage. The magician's from Europe, so I'm going to try to do a European accent. What did he say again? The small tent behind the big top? Backstage. Backstage in actuality is just a small tent behind the big performance tent. I slipped in from the back and pulled the curtain. It's not exactly tidy, but it's not the best I expected at all. It's a splash of loud colours competing for attention, from outlandish costumes to wildly patent fabrics. Various fantastical stage props are piled around the small room, making it look like some sort of fairy tale storage facility. I cleared my throat. Ahem. A tiny girl, young woman, slipped out from behind one of the big boards that were obscuring her. A string of soft clinking and clattering followed her movements as tools rattled around in her pockets. She eyes me up and down, obviously wondering if I'm supposed to be here, but decided against speaking first. "You must be Alys." She nodded. Alys is the mechanic of Morgan's traveling circus. She works closely with all the performers and handles a variety of tasks, from making costumes and props to managing show arrangements. Great, I'm Jackie. What are you doing here? The switcheroo. Mr. Morgan asked me to come here. Here's a note from him. He said you'll understand after you read it. I handed her the note. She quickly scanned it, and as if she couldn't believe what was written, carefully passed the note again. I'm surprised that the paper is not going to spontaneous combustion from the intensity of her disbelieving gaze. Is everything okay? Huh? Is everything okay? Oh, yes. It's okay, I guess. She stared at the ground, silent for a long while. I just can't believe, what is he thinking, dressing someone up as her? He didn't even tell us about this. I'm sure he has his reasons. Obviously, I'm not an expert here, but Mr. Morgan seems like a smart guy. I'm sure he has his reasons for doing this. You don't need to tell me that. Sorry, it's just been a crazy week. Of course I know that. I can't imagine the pressure he is under. What would you do if you were in this situation? She paused for a second, letting out a long breath. I'm sure what I would do, but it would definitely not be this. Is that a good thing or a bad thing? I don't know. Right. Moses asked me to come to help with the costume. She looked me up and down. I have the old one, and I think you'll fit in it. Can I make some measurements? Sure. I'm still stuck on the awkwardness of the conversation we were just having, but for her, it's like once work comes up, all previous problems were discarded, and she started moving with purpose. Almost before she even heard my response, she's already rummaging through her little pouch and pulling out a tape measure. Can you stand with your back to, the shelf over there? I need to see how tall you are. She charged towards the corner of the large shelf and started cleaning a place to stand. Yeah, let me just move the eye out of the way. You can stand here on the right side. Back straight, please. Yeah, like that. I stood with my back to the shelf as she pinned one side of the tape measure under the bottom of the shelf and tried stretching it to the top of my head. With her shorter stature, she had to resort to getting on the stairs next to the shelf to read the results. Okay, something around 5'8". Caddy was 5'6". I could have told you that, my height, I mean. Sorry, I just like to measure things myself. She pulled the tape measure back and pulled out from another one from her pouch, a soft one, and quickly took measurements of my shoulder and waist. Hold your arms straight to the side. With a tape measure in her hand and numbers scribbled in her notebook, she now looks so much more assured and comfortable making commands, like she's in her own zone. All right, I'm done now. I let out the breath I'd been holding and relaxed my hands. She's jotting down something quickly on a notepad while clearly forming a plan in her head. I think we can get away with doing a few adjustments on her, the costume. We already have. So your shoulders are a little wider, but don't worry. There are a few things I can do to give you some breathing space. What's your shoe size? I'm not sure. How can you be not sure? Aren't measurements in the States different? Right. You were in Europe or something. She ducked into the pile of stuff on the other side of the room and came out with a pair of purple high heels. How's this size for you? I sat down on the stairs and tried squeezing my foot in. My toes are screaming. I feel like one of Cinderella's evil stepsisters. Yeah, you are a bit taller than her, but so maybe you don't need the heels, but let me see. She scanned the room and gave herself a little ha when she found a pair of old black knee-high boots from the corner. I think these were Chip's, actually, but he's a short guy, so try these on. Let me know if it's too large. I can add insoles or stuff them. I slipped them on and my toes immediately felt liberated. Ah, thank you. This feels so much better. But the color, does it go with the costume? Black goes with everything. Wait, I think I have some of the dress fabric left. I sat then while Alys worked some quick magic on the dress and the boots. I just stared dumbly while she pulled out a pair of scissors from her tool belt and went to work. First, she carefully took out the zipper from the back of the dress, hidden under the ruffle, and replaced it with a ribbon lacing on the back to give it more width. And then she cut long strips of the purple fabric and folded it artistically around the boots, and then pulled out some glue. Noticing me staring, she looks a little embarrassed and explained, I know it looks silly, but glue really does work in a pinch, I promise. She was right. Somehow, with just a few touches to the glue, the fabric is now decorating the boot, like it has always meant to be part of the costume. Alright, can you try these on and let me know if they fit? In the blink of an eye, she laid out the dress, the boots, and a pair of gloves and a top hat, all on the sofa. Like, here. What do you mean? It's backstage. Oh, you mean like in front of me? Sorry, we don't really have a changing room or anything. I'll look away if you want. I'm just gonna change behind the big cardboard, okay? I ducked behind the little board. I had to crouch to fit myself behind it, and crouching was not a good position to put on a dress. Do you, need help? You know, with the lacing or something? I can hear her clearing her throat uncomfortably, clearly not keen on it, but probably felt compelled to ask out of obligation. No, I'm good. Almost done. With some awkward shuffling, I'm pretty sure I finally got everything on. I'm just not sure I could get out of it without some significant wiggling. All right, I'm done. Alys looked me up and down with a kind of dazed look in her eyes. Alys? Yes, everything fits okay. Everything fits fine. Great, actually. That's it then, I think. Do you want to take a look? She gestured to the makeup mirror as I peeked. I could hardly recognize myself. Oh, looks... I know. Hattie's costume, a complete magician's getup with a top, hat, and gloves. The dress is pretty modest for circus standards, but the ruffles and colors are still quite flattering. I just need to not think too much about the fact that I'm technically wearing a dead person's clothes. So I'd be keeping this for the big show tonight. Oh, that reminds me, we should talk a little about show arrangements. The big show starts at 7 every night and goes for about 3 hours. Usually the ringmaster do a routine to introduce all performers up front. But since your appearance is supposed to be a surprise, I think it'll be better for you to only do the closing act from 9 to 10 o'clock. You need to be in a little early so we can go over some last-minute arrangements, but so maybe you come back here at 8 p.m.? It will be easier then, too, because everyone will be in the big top watching the show. You don't need to worry about someone seeing you. All right, be back here at 8. Got it. So what now? Actually, I wanted to check on that calliope at the fair. But it's not urgent. But if you have more questions, I can stay. Or if you want to go somewhere else, you can leave. Want to switch up the scenery? When you see this map icon on the left side, it means you can choose to move to another location. Simply click on the icon above your map and choose on the map which location you wish to go next. In the future, you'll also be able to choose which location you want to go to in the beginning of every turn. Those doesn't cost any action points. Oh. However, if you wish to move from one location to another in the middle of the turn, it will cost you 1 action point. Okay. We have Alys, Patty. Situation in the circus? So, this whole Hattie situation seems to be talk of the town. I know, it's been crazy. So, if you don't mind me asking, how has this been affecting the business? Are people really returning their tickets and stuff? I don't really know, it's not for me to worry about. But this whole thing just feels so wrong. I remember a time when a circus coming to town would be the biggest thing ever. People would drive for hours and contract boats just to come see the performance. Kids would try to sneak in or do all kinds of odd jobs for them so they'll give us a free ticket. And then we'll go see the acrobat ladies and the elephants. If you run to the front row and reach your hand out, you could touch the horses and elephants. It was magical. But it seems like people are just less impressed with what we do these days, you know? It seems like they are expecting people to be shot out of cannons or birds that will turn into snakes or something. I don't know. Maybe I'm being too... It just seems like they don't really understand what the circus is about. I don't really know about the number stuff, but the boss doesn't seem to be too worried about it, so I guess it's fine. I don't really care if it makes a ton of money or just enough. As long as we can keep going, I'll be here. What does that do? Oh, I can look around. A big eye painted on the board with a kaleidoscope iris and orange lashes is staring into the space. I can't imagine what kind of show necessitates a prop like this. Imagine walking up the middle of the night and looking right into this. If Alice sleeps on the sofa over there, that probably happened once or twice. A tall wooden shelf stood straight at the end of the room. On the left side is every flamboyant costume accessory I could possibly think of, from wigs to glittery heels to feather boas and hats. And the right side is simply stuffed full with shiny, glitzy, bold pattern fabrics. Oh. Several more tall cardboards stood behind the shelf. A couple are painted like giant-sized poker cards, and I can see the one on the back is painted like some sort of ornate clock. Somehow these decorations gave me a sense of fairy tale wonder, more like any other colourful, dreamy things in this tent. There is something about these painted cardboard props that feel like a set on a school stage production, a mother making up stories on her child's bedside, that are perhaps a little shabby and amateurish, but more than makes up for it in its sincerity. Gosh, I sound so corny in my head. Makeup desks with mirrors and glowing light bulbs all surrounding them. The lights seem to be hooked up to some sort of electricity that's a little finicky, making it glow and dim rhythmically, almost giving a hypnotic quality to them. There are tiny black and white pictures glued to the mirror, perhaps reference photos. I took a peek into the makeup box on the table. There must be like 100 different brushes in there. I wonder how they even tell between each one. In the corner of the room is a short coffee table with a couple of books, an ashtray, and a couple of bottles of whiskey. Probably where performers sit to fill the time while they're waiting for their turn to get on the stage. Take a shot before your act to calm the nerves, huh? I wonder if that's actually what they do. Seems like it might end up a disaster for lightweights. Okay. What else is there? No? Hmm. What's this? A portable clothes rack crammed with colourful clothes and a cerulean crescent. Wow, that's a lot of C's. Hmm. That's all I can see here. What's this? Oh, a map. Stable, fair, office, fortune teller. Um, Fortune teller seems interesting. The tiny tent looks unremarkable, even shabby from the outside. A little sign leaning to the door said that the tent only takes one customer at a time, and it's currently empty, so I guess that means I can walk right in. It's the middle of the day, yet the thick curtains block out every bit of sunlight, leaving only a warm glow of a few flickering lanterns and candles. Blankets, quilts, and fabrics adorned with different patterns cover practically every corner of the room, giving it a surprisingly cozy feel. Sat across the table is a young man, a boy. He squinted uncomfortably as I brought in an unexpected assault of bright light when I entered and pressed on his wide-brimmed hat to shield his eyes. The star and moon adornments on his hat jingled. Tito is his name. Welcome, stranger. What are you looking for today? You know who I am, right? You know what this is about? I gestured at myself. Of course, you are yourself, but not quite. But where there is disguise, there is authenticity. When fiction becomes truth, then truth is as good as fiction. Okay. We fortune tellers don't look at what you wear or who you say you are. We care only about what the stars say to us, and I thought I was really good at the magic talk. I should take some lessons from this kid. Sorry, I forgot to ask your name. I'm Tito, the fortune teller. Well, Tito, now that I'm here, do you do fortune readings for your colleagues or not? An employee discount, maybe? If you're interested, I can offer the first reading for free. Why not? Let's try it. He reached under the table and took out a deck of tarot cards, placed face down in the center of the table. So, what are you looking to learn about today? What do people usually ask about? Matters of romantic love, careers, or love? Or just their general luck, whatever is concerning you at the moment? Well, nothing is happening on the love front, and my career is clearly taking a turn. I guess I'll just ask about general luck then. How is my day going to go? Place your hand on the deck and repeat your question to the cards, and then keep that question in mind and shuffle the cards. I did as he asked, and he smoothed his hand over the deck, laying them out on the table like he's a dealer on a high-stakes poker game. That gesture, painted with his completely serious expression, is an unusual sight that I had to hold back my laughter. He glanced at me across the table, and somehow I got the feeling that he knows what I'm thinking. Split the deck into 3 and place them in sequence from left to right like this. He flicked open the first one, the magician. Well, that's obvious. Not just the magician in reversed position, a sign of... Wait a minute, sorry to interrupt, but is a card supposed to look like that? The man in the card is wearing a top hat and a dress, unless this is some sort of special edition Circus tarot card. I don't think it's supposed to look like that. That's a long story. Yan did that? He looks a little embarrassed and solemnly cleared his throat. I assure you it doesn't interfere with the reading. Okay then, sorry for interrupting. You were saying? The magician reversed. You are in a situation full of illusions and trickery. Well, I should think that's obvious with this whole situation. Tito didn't even respond to that. I thought he might be mad at my somewhat flippant attitude. But when I looked at him, he looked confused about something. This card should be representing your past. Perhaps it's trying to say that you already have completed your illusion by stepping into this new identity. To make full sense of it, I need to look at the next card. Huh. Now it's getting interesting. Seven of Cups. Choices, confusion, wishful thinking. This card represents your present. You are faced with a lot of choices and you may not be sure if they will work in your favor. Thus the confusion. The most you can do is wish for the best. Sounds awfully vague. Perhaps he says that to all the clients. And I suppose the third card will represent my future? Hope it's not some genetic line about how everything will be fine. The Tower. Disruption. Sudden upheaval. Potential disaster. Oops. Definitely not generic. He sounds grimly serious. However, that effect is significantly mitigated by the doodles on a card that gave colourful parachutes to the two people jumping out of the tower on fire, making the descent look gleeful instead. Right. Potential disaster. I'm no expert, but that doesn't sound good. You came seeking answers about your fortune. So from these cards, what do you see? I don't know if that's just my imagination, but I think I saw the candle lights jump in the corner of my eye. Tito continued to speak slowly and clearly, every syllable bubbling like water waiting to boil. I see misfortune in your stars tonight. What? While I'm still reeling from what he just said, he's already reshuffled the deck and put it back under the table. That's all I have for you for now. What do you mean, that's all? You can't say just that. You can't say that without at least giving me an explanation. There will come a time soon when you will know what I mean. But that time is not now. Either way, your reading is complete. You can stay and rest here if you want, or you can make your way out. Take a look. Tarot cards. A series of tarot cards seem to be floating in the air, swaying gently to the subtle shifts of air inside the tent. Upon closer inspection, they are tied to the tent ceiling with thin fishing strings, of course. In the corner of the tent is all so small that everything seems like corner, really is a small shelf filled with various trinkets. Candles lit and unlit, a color-tinted mirror, and a celestial globe, a framed photo, various cans of mysterious spices and potions. It's a shelf of mysteries, and perhaps only its owner can tell stories about what each item came from, and what they are meant to do, where each item came from. A small tea table covered in a blue tablecloth with beautiful print. The tablecloth seems old with fraying edges and faint stains, but is still neatly pressed and smells freshly washed. On the table is a big crystal bowl, because of course there's a crystal bowl for the fortune teller, even as I wonder if he can even lift a crystal bowl that big. 2 cups of steaming hot tea awaits their enjoyers, or perhaps they are merely there for the leaves to be read. Do we get to drink the tea after the tea leaf reading is finished? Because otherwise, it seems like a waste of perfectly good warm tea. An old grandfather clock stood to the side. I don't think its hands are even moving. An old broken grandfather clock. And it looks heavy too. Do they transport this on the train too and carry it on and off every time they set up the tent? Sounds exhausting. It's the only corner in the room that doesn't spell out divination at first glance. Instead, it's only a quiet, soft corner of pillows and blankets, each with different colors and prints. Is this where he sleeps? It looks cramped, but surprisingly homey. I wouldn't mind taking a nap there, although I clearly won't fit in it. It looks like I'm done. End of turn. I left the fortune teller's tent. I had to stand with my eyes closed for a few moments to adjust to the brightness. I was just trying to decide where to go next when all of a sudden I heard loud music playing on the other side of the circus. It's some sort of musical instrument like an organ I've heard in church, but its tune is cheerful instead of solemn. I decide to follow the music. Back to the detective. I shall see you guys next time. Please like and subscribe, and this is Picasso Plays. Toodaloo for now.